Life on Saturn presents nothing. We got nothing. We got nothing. We got nothing. Nope.
Yo, yiggity, yo, what is good? We are coming at you once again on We Got Nothing Blue Version, Episode 2, LOS's own podcast. And I am your host that boasts the most. I am Catalyst Jost. Here at this time with a very unique guest. Ladies, he's known as a choker. Gentlemen, he's known as a toker. And even though he doesn't work on Wall Street, he is a broker. Please help me welcome my roommate, Ed. What's good, my dude?
What's going on, man?
Not much. Dude, like, this weekend has been weird in terms of, like, events and, more importantly, weather. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, man. I was actually at Point Rush yesterday, dude, and it, kind of started raining out of nowhere. There was a lot of lightning, and we were on the beach. I was pretty worried we were going to get hit by some fucking lightning.
Bro, so I was on my way to Altona with my mom. We were going to see some family friends. I could see the fucking storm clouds, like, rolling in. It was ominous, like, classic North Country weather, and you could see the little spits of lightning in the background. It was like almost like the gods having fights with each other. It was dope sauce.
Yeah, man.
Fucking A.
We needed the rain, though.
Yeah. Well, kind of yes, kind of no. Like, I don't think there's any point with it because as the months get colder, the vegetation is going to die down soon. But at the same time, also, like, I do like seeing all the colors on the trees. I actually just came from Peru earlier.
Yeah, it's a nice time of year, man.
So I already know the answer to this question, but how's Sober October going for you?
All right, yeah. So Sober October, I originally actually heard about that from the Joe Rogan podcast, and I won't get too deep into it, but I had a pretty crazy incident a few weeks back with some buddies doing some hard drugs, and shit went south pretty quick, as it sometimes does with hard drugs. And I was just like, kind of like, as a friend group, like, we should all probably do Sober October, this and that. I don't think any of us have stuck to Sober October, to be honest. But my reasoning is that probably I'm 20 years old right now. Since I was about 16, 17, I've been smoking dabs every day for years. Like 3-4 years. And I've never really had problems with other drugs, but I just didn't want to smoke for a month and everything. But I'm going through a lot, and I actually recently started talking to a therapist, and one thing she said was, like, don't try to do too much at once, like I'm dealing with all this shit. So she was like, just try to smoke less and maybe, take a day off here and there. But, like, she said, because I was like, I just want to smoke on the weekends is kind of my goal, and she's like, that's not a bad goal, but it might be too much to not even just smoke for a whole week, and, like, I don't know.
Straight up, the therapist does say just smoke less, not don't smoke at all. Now, that sounds like a therapist I can get behind.
Yeah, she seems pretty legit, for sure. She told me right off the bat, like, I'm not going to be one of those, like, smile and nod, like, this and that. I was like, I mean, I'm paying you $100 a session. I hope that's not the case,
Right. Yeah, no, like, sounds like I need that kind of therapy. What is it? 11 days for me. Oh, my lord. So, what was it? I've told this to other people. Like, around last week, you might have even heard it, I literally broke down in the kitchen here and over sliced bread. So, my regular bread was all moldy. The Ezekiel bread I keep in the fridge I couldn't make because I had left my toaster in the apartment where I used to be. And I had a fucking meltdown. I had what's called a bitch fit. And frickin' I call up my friends and my family. I'm like, I am sad right now because I cannot eat anything. I cannot make lunch for work. I can't even eat breakfast. I fucking hate everything here.
Yeah, I hear that, man. Like, I did do a Sober October for almost a week. And in that time, like, Not that I found myself just angry all the time, but dude, I was getting so mad just driving. Like just the littlest shit, somebody cut me off, and I'm just like irate. Or like when I'm playing Overwatch, like I normally don't get mad at video games, and like most of the time when I'm playing video games, I'm stoned.
Who arranged these pixels this way now?
Right. But I don't know. I was just getting really fucking mad, and I noticed that when I don't smoke a lot of weed. But I don't smoke like all day, every day. It's mostly at night.
Well, you're amongst friends here. Like everyone who owns this podcast has dabbled or continues to dabble in the marijuanas. So this is actually the first day I've actually genuinely missed not actually partaking in a beer or like a bong rip. It's weird. Like the past 11 days hadn't been so bad, but I don't know. I think now I finally hit that stage in the sober October where I'm just like, I gotta go into work tomorrow, do 2 straight 12 hours. Yeah, I could use a fucking beer, but fuck it, whatever.
Yeah, when I quit, I've never really been a big drinker, but when I quit smoking weed, man, it's usually about day 3, my dreams start getting really, really vivid, and I kind of feel just like, I kind of want some weed, but nothing crazy. But usually it's about day 10, 12, somewhere in there for me. And that's when I really just go through some serious emotional shit, and then I just really want to smoke.
Yeah, I actually think weed is harder to break than alcohol because I was kind of exaggerating there for a minute. I don't necessarily miss the alcohol at all. Like it's all right, and I didn't experience really any withdrawal symptoms or anything like that. But marijuana, I feel, is much more difficult because the psychoactive components really do play a part in calming your mood and just like providing an overwhelming feeling of zen, really. And for some, like including myself, they do really help great when it comes to sleep deprivation.
Yeah, dude, I cannot sleep worth a damn when I'm not smoking weed, and I think eventually I'll be able to, but it's just my body's so used to sleeping high that it's like trying to sleep sober. What the fuck is this, But I do take CBD at night, and even not smoking weed, the CBD does help me sleep easier.
There was a candy I was eating for a bit to help me sleep at night. It's a CBD infused one, but it has trace amounts of THC, like literally under the I guess what you could say the legal limit. And they really did help me with sleep. Shout out to the CBD company. I don't know what they're called exactly over on Clinton Street, and they also have a kiosk over in the mall. Very dope
Is it
sauce.
the same people?
Yeah, my friend Bullfrog works there. Lenny Hart used to work there.
Oh,
Yep. Great people, great products also. But yeah, to help out more with Sober October also, I've been posting live video, not live, but video diaries on how it's going, like Sober October day,
cool.
whatever.
Yeah, I have a daily journal. I used to write in it a lot. I kind of got out of habit of writing in it. I try to, but just some of the stuff that I do isn't the most kosher or even legal sometimes. So.
Well, you're a writer too, so
Yeah.
I understand that hardcore. Yeah, I used to have a journal myself. I tried to keep in touch with too, but when you start getting into the ebb and flow of writing something like narrative based stuff or how I do poems, you've been writing plenty of papers as of late over at...
Oh, yeah, I've been writing a lot of papers, and I'm also working on a book, and I'm also working on a short story right now, so I'm writing a lot.
So, yeah, personal journals can take a real chunk out of the day, especially when you've already been writing. Honestly, I think video diaries or, even audio diaries should make a comeback.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. I feel like I could get behind that, because, sometimes, like you said, I've been writing all day. It's I don't want to write, but it's I could sit there and talk for a couple minutes.
Without a doubt. And during these sober days, I've been getting more into horror films. By the way, happy early Halloween, everybody. This is currently October 11th, and we have 20 days till the big countdown that is Halloween in Plattsburgh.
Yeah, I'm going to a wedding on Halloween, so I'm pretty excited for that.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
Glad it's still able to happen with 2020 and everything.
Shout out to Jordan and Jaden. Love you guys. Yeah, I actually was scheduled to go to a wedding myself, but due to what is 2020 and what is COVID procedure, the venue that they had chosen was not allowing any capacity more than 50 people, and that's including staff. And I was like, yo,
Damn.
I'm all good. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
For horror films as of late, I've been delving back into some of the old zombie ones, like a couple days ago I had a bit of a zombie marathon. I watched Night of the Living Dead. That surprisingly, from being made in the 1960s, that was an exponentially.
That was Romero, right?
Yeah, that was actually a very violent film at the time, even though it was black and white. And at the time, it was very progressive. The lead actor is a black dude, and he's the smartest one out of all of them. I also recently, yesterday to be exact, I looked at the Netflix movie Bird Box for the first time, finally. Like, for the longest time, this is a thing I have. When things get super hype, I try not to get into it during when it's hype, because then you get people like spoilers, you get like fans that can be trolls. And also there is the possibility that it's not nearly as hype as everyone's saying it is.
Yeah, it can I think it can skew your opinion on a film too, like the hype around it, versus just watching it and kind of experiencing it firsthand.
Yeah,
without any prior,
Right, yeah, you were telling me that it was one of your more favorite recent horror films. You said it's based off a book?
It is. I actually want to read the book. I heard that the book is really, really scary. The movie wasn't. I mean, it was kind of fucked up, I guess, but it wasn't like super scary.
Yeah, the movie was definitely suspenseful. There are supernatural elements to it. So a breakdown of it, if you haven't seen already, no spoilers. Essentially, Sandra Bullock's character is an artist. She lives in what I can assume is Los Angeles or something, whatnot at the time. And all of a sudden, there's an outbreak of mass suicides caused by invisible supernatural entities that when you look at them, you either go like psychotic, but like manic psychotic in the terms of like you're super happy but super violent at the same time. And then there's other people who just flat out kill themselves. Strong performances from both Bullock, John Malkovich, who is definitely an underrated actor in my opinion. There were a couple other good performances there, and also I haven't read the book, but I felt like the pacing of the film, I felt like it was good, and the cinematography work was phenomenal for a Netflix film.
What did you think of MGK's role? I thought that was like...
Was that him?
Yes.
Was that him?
Yes, it was MGK.
I looked at him, he looked familiar, but I think they covered a lot of his tats.
Oh, they might have.
Yeah, so I was confused, like, I want to say that's him, but at the same time, I'm too lazy to look it up right now, so, but shit.
Yeah, I don't know. He's in a lot of movies recently. Not a lot, but I've seen him in a handful of movies, and I don't know. It's kind of weird to see music artists in movies.
Well, I mean, you got guys like Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube, and fucking 50 Cent who've been doing it for like almost decades now.
Yeah, have you seen the movie with Wiz Khalifa and Snoop Dogg?
Yes. Mac and Devin go to high school. Now, that is a stoner classic. It's not necessarily Jay and Silent Bob awesome, but it's one of those ones where it's just nice to chill with a bunch of brodies.
Yeah, I got overly baked watching that movie one time.
Oh, same.
Me and my buddy smoked every time they smoked in that movie.
Well, what does the cartoon Blunt say in the beginning? Like, every time somebody speaks or breathes, you take a hit.
I mean, we did it just every time they smoked, and it essentially was every time somebody breathed. We killed an entire 1 gram THC cart over the course of that movie.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
it was me and one other person.
And Scanner declares that you, sir, are zonked.
Yeah, I was freaking high, man.
But yeah, Bird Box wasn't bad. To begin the whole horror craze, I started off with my favorite horror film of all time, John Carpenter's The Thing from 1982, starring Kurt Russell. You ever seen that?
I'm not huge into horror movies. I don't know. I'm kind of a little bitch when it comes to that type of stuff.
I understand completely. I used to be the same way. Then there was a point where, like, when I've always kind of had weird ass dreams. Like, and when it came to nightmares, I've had ones that could put Stephen King to shame, honestly. So, like especially when it came more into getting into the ebb and flow of writing, I actually started viewing some more of these horror films, and now that's one of my more favorite genres. Context for John Carpenter's The Thing is basically there is this parasitic-like alien that crash lands in the Antarctic. So essentially, Kurt Russell's Antarctic team, they discover this transmogrified body there, and essentially they bring in this sled dog, this like husky, and then it turns out to be like an alien that once it like touches you, or what I assume is kill you or eat you, it can assume your form.
Ooh.
And oh my god, the graphics, the visual effects in this film for the time still hold up today. Like, for the longest time, the first time I watched this, I was back in high school, and it fucked me for life. Like, I didn't get back into watching it until like about a year and a half ago, and now it is one of my favorite films of all time, just because it's the perfect horror film in my opinion, because you get horrific bloody imagery. Like, essentially, when the alien itself transforms, like, it's, like, whatever form it takes, its flesh opens up. Like, you see bones, you see twisted limbs. Sometimes it'll take the form of shit like blades, spiders, or, like, there's one part where a dude's fucking head opens up and there's just, like, teeth surrounding it. Highly suggest it sometime.
Word.
Definitely good for a bro movie night.
Yeah, I don't know. Gore and stuff has never really bothered me. Like, I can watch Saw all day long. Like, I'm not really bothered by any of that. But, I don't know, it's a lot of the paranormal shit. Like, I could never watch Paranormal Activity. Or the one with, like, that doll.
Oh, yeah, Annabelle. Yeah.
Hell no. All that shit just creeps me right the fuck out.
Well, I mean, as of late, especially how, like, the current generation, like, is getting more into spirituality and whatnot, those threats seem much more, what's the word, tangible than years past. I mean, hell, we live right next to a graveyard. There are a couple of occasions where I do question, like, yo, are we actually alone in these apartment complexes? Like,
What's weird, dude, is my grandfather is actually buried in that graveyard right behind the apartment.
No shit, I did not know that.
Straight up. Well, yeah, I don't know. I think horror movies are cool, but some of them just stick with me too much, man. I got an active imagination, so it's like...
Well, as cinematic techniques and special effects as they get better, the imagination really starts to run wild when you see those images, and especially in the past, like, I would say decade, like, there's been a renaissance of horror as of late. Like, I mean, there's been Hereditary, there's the Saw movies, like you said before. The director of that was the director of, who is it? The Conjuring movies,
no shit.
the first two ones, and he also directed the Insidious, the first
I
Insidious
haven't
movie.
seen either of those.
Those ones are fucking grisly. Like,
Yeah.
Insidious 1 wasn't too bad. Like, it can get creepy at times, but not nearly as scary as you'd think. Insidious Chapter 2 fucked me up because there's this one scene where they're checking out an abandoned asylum, and there's all of a sudden, like, the camera does like some kind of seizure thing, and like a bunch of ghostly images pop up, and there's this one image of the main ghost villain of the film. He is dressed up as like a bride in black. And oh my god, the creepiness of the dude's smile and his eyes, like it actually harkens back to nightmares I've had in the past where I've seen someone or something with eyes that are just purely white, and in the middle there's just a pinpoint black dot, almost like if somebody was on bath salts, if you will.
All right.
Like, because like it looks through you,
Yeah.
not at you. Like, that shit terrifies me.
Yeah. Do you believe in ghosts and everything?
Honestly, I do believe that there is a realm outside of the corporeal existence that we have because like, I mean, if the law of attraction is a thing, which I've seen it happen, it is, then that must mean that there must be forces outside of the realm that we inhabit that kind of have a hand in making those weird things, you know, that like honestly, what was it, the other night I was sleeping in my room right next to us, and I was dreaming, and all of a sudden, I swear to God, I feel like a hand touch like the small of my back.
Ooh.
It was weird. I wake up, I look around like there's no one there. But the thing is, it wasn't a threatening. It didn't feel threatening. It felt like almost like a warm touch, like if a girl touches you on the back. You know, I don't know. Besides that, it could be our neighbors upstairs, but like every once in a while, I hear like weird noises and whatnot.
I've had some weird shit happen in this apartment too, actually, man. Like, there was one night, so no windows were open, there's no draft, no, like, nothing going on, you know what I mean? I'm laying in bed one night, and I had a dab torch on my bedroom floor, and it had been sitting there just upright for hours and hours, and it was completely flat on a level surface, right? Well, on the floor. And dude, I'm just like laying in bed, and out of nowheres, this dab torch falls over, and I'm just like, what? And then, like, I don't know, like, sometimes, I don't know if you ever feel like you can just feel there's like a presence in the room. And I kind of felt that, like, I just felt like, I don't know, like, I had like goosebumps, like, something felt off. And I'm like watching this YouTube video, right? And this like really weird ad comes on. And like, I don't say anything, because I know your phone listens to you and shit like that. I don't say anything at all.
How you doing, CIA? Can you see us?
But I'm not saying anything out loud. Just in my mind, I think, man, I never want to see this fucking ad again. And then like, I skip the ad, and then it doesn't go to the video. It just keeps replaying that ad repeatedly for like a good like 4 or 5 times after I hit skip ad.
That's freaky as
Yeah,
fuck,
dude.
actually.
I was just sitting there, and I was just like, what the fuck, dude? Like, I turned on all my lights. I just like sat up in my bed for like a good couple hours. I was like, I don't know. It felt really, really off.
So yesterday I was over at my parents' place. I slept there last night. Freaking, they live right next to a small graveyard themselves. First, there's a swamp behind our house, and then there's a mini plot of land that's used as a cemetery. So last night when I was trying to roll over and go to sleep, I swear to God, the moment I roll over to my side to face the wall, I hear almost like a whisper or like a breath on the back of my neck, and then I'm like paralyzed, thinking like, I don't want to know if something's there because I'm afraid that would be even worse. It's weird. Like it's the small things that get you really. Like it could be like just a small noise that's like out of the ordinary, or I don't know. On the topic of yesterday, like going back to the weather and whatnot, the clouds were freaky as fuck. Like so ominous. Like and it was weird. They were slowly rolling in. Like it felt like kind of like, I don't know, appropriate time of the year, like some witch had casted a spell and it was slowly, the dark clouds are coming in to envelop the whole town. It was weird. Another weird thing I saw yesterday, more relating to real world horrors. So this is the second time I've seen this. Over at the old Friendly's restaurant that's over at it's not Consumer Square, but Lowe's Square, the parking lot in front of Lowe's. There was another Trump, I guess, rally, you could call it, like a mini rally. And as always, across the street, there was a BLM rally and counter protest to it. I was looking at it and everything was peaceful. Like I was liking that there was healthy. It like surprisingly at the time it looked like everything was civil. Like I'm glad to see people really being active in the community, and especially when it comes to politics. You know, as we were leaving Price Chopper, we did see a whole squadron of state police. Like I'm seeing 5 cars in the middle of the fucking street, like flashing red, and I'm like, oh Jesus, I hope nothing like bad happened. Doing my research earlier today before recording this, looking onto the Plattsburgh street team on Facebook and the Exposing Racists in the North Country page on Facebook. From what I can gather, there was a red vehicle that was driving by the Trump side of the protest points. The pictures that I saw indicated that the Trump protesters had, in fact, surrounded the vehicle. I couldn't hear, there wasn't really much any video footage of that particular incident, but they had surrounded the vehicle, and looking at a couple pictures that were taken of the red vehicle itself, there was a black man in it. And not long after that, that's when the police showed up.
No shit. Yeah, I know a chick that drove through that rally the other day, playing "Fuck Donald Trump" with all of her windows down. And I don't know, that happens all the time, all over the country. But
it feels weird when it happens right in your hometown. Like
like I'm not necessarily pro Trump. I'm not really pro Biden either. I'm pro a better choice. That's what I'm
no
pro.
Facts. And like also like doing like even blaring like anti-Trump stuff, like that can be dangerous too, because like what a lot of people don't acknowledge is that other than major metropolitan areas like NYC, Albany, Syracuse, and Buffalo and stuff like that, New York is primarily a red state. Those surrounding areas all have Republicans or conservatives around that.
Yeah, well, like area-wise, I think it's a red state, but population-wise, like you said, a lot of the big urban centers, especially New York City, you know, and it's just primarily blue. And
of course, you get like blue blips like Plattsburgh here. That the surrounding areas have a lot more people who vote red, but you know, Plattsburgh and other towns like us, I think it's because we have the college itself here. Those are the areas that are the little blue dots among the red.
Yeah, a lot of college students. I myself am a college student, but a lot of college students seem to be on this whole like woke liberal type shit lately, just kind of nationwide.
Yeah, it's been a thing for a bit. Like, honestly, I didn't have much of a stake in any of the battle or conversation. But then, you know, looking at looking at personal friends who had been victimized, especially in the last few months, by the local populace, and also I come from a very strong Republican family. You tend to see just like how vile people can get. Like you tend to see how vile conversations can be. Like it's no different than a Civil War scenario. Like it pits family against family.
Yeah,
brother.
we are pretty divided. I'd say close to a Civil War level.
My mom was born back in '72. I was talking to her about it yesterday. She says this is the most divided she's ever seen the nation. Like,
yeah, it's very polarized. Like, everybody's super political. And then the moment anybody says anything that goes against what you believe in, it's just chaos kind of ensues. And I mean, there's some reasonable people out there, but more often than not, it seems like everybody's just fucking batshit crazy about their political views.
Yeah, what was it? So the day I kind of lost my shit on the sliced bread there, I did make a video for Instagram saying that, like, I think that one of the biggest problems nowadays is that for the longest time it's been ingrained in us to have a strong sense of individual identity, and seeing what we can do on our own individual power, when a lot of people don't realize that one of the most potent and purest forms of like energy, especially positive energy, or like either way on the spectrum, is one from a sense of community.
Yeah.
Like when you place a group of like-minded individuals, give them a singular focus that they can all agree on, nothing is more powerful. Nothing is more palpable. Like it's almost like in terms of energy, it could almost be like measured to the sun. You know, like not obviously in terms of like physical manifestation, but in terms of just this overwhelming feeling that makes your body buzz. Like,
yeah, I mean, that's like going back to the roots of human history, man. Like, people didn't just work for themselves back in hunter-gatherer groups and shit. You know, they worked for the hunter-gatherer group, and everybody kind of worked together, and that's how people survived, man.
And I mean, there was, back then there was a bigger sense of community because, like you said, hunter-gatherer groups, and more importantly, like there was no need to debate about leaders, what's going to happen next, because a lot of times it was based off of survival, you know, and like it was pretty simple. You do what you did to survive or you fucking died. Nowadays, I think, especially us being a first world country, there's not much we really need to fight about except like the different squabbles we have amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
This was said by my uncle like a long time ago. Do you know what would get the human race together? Alien attack.
I used to think that, man, but you know, seeing the way we kind of didn't get together for shit during COVID, I don't think anything will bring us together, man.
This is true. You think this has kind of been all kind of like a social experiment to think that like what would happen if the world really went up against a major threat, to see if community is possible in the face of adversity, like great adversity?
I mean, that's always possible. The way I kind of look at COVID, I look at it in kind of a weird way. I think, you know, like, as human beings, like, we've kind of destroyed this planet and, you know, caused global warming and all this shit. And we're killing our planet, you know, whether or not you think global warming is a fucking hoax or not, we are killing our planet. And I think that, you know, COVID might just be the world's way of, you know, kind of fighting back a little bit and trying to, like, save itself in a sense, you know what I mean?
I mean, flat out, honestly, like, Humans are the galactic equivalent of cockroaches right now. We spread disease like war and famine and, like you said before, global warming. And yet we've lived through events like nuclear warfare, genocides, and stuff like that. Yet, and like different battling political ideologies like the current climate right now. Yet we're still here, but at the same time, nobody's fucking learned yet that we all bleed red, and nobody thinks that's enough, you know? I don't know. COVID, I feel like was it was a test run on how the apocalypse would end up, you know? Like, if there was an event like a major threat we could not foresee.
I think it was foreseen, though. You know, Bill Gates was talking about this fucking years ago, man. Like, and then, you know, we had a task force that Trump supposedly defunded or whatever that was supposed to deal with pandemic type responses.
Right. I heard about that. What was that all about? Like, he disbanded it like a year or two ago, right?
Yeah, I don't know the specifics on it, and a lot of the news, unfortunately, is very left-leaning. There's no news really kind of in the center, so it's hard to get, you know, a legitimate, true, this is the news. But from what I read into it, essentially it was a pandemic response task force type of deal, and he disbanded the group a year or two prior to the COVID pandemic. I think he cut their funding.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I don't know either. Like, here's the thing that's so hard about actually keeping up with certain events is that, like, people tell you to look it up on this news outlet, that news outlet, but they don't really have many outlets that can properly fact check these stories and give unbiased. Like, that's why people get so tight about the media nowadays, because each one, whether it's on the left or the right, it spins some kind of yarn of narrative that properly fits the agenda of whatever party they're serving or whoever is in charge in those conglomerates. Yet nobody can really just say that. Nobody can call it down the middle, flat out. Nobody can call it down the middle.
Yeah, I'm trying to get away from news and more into independent journalists. But again, you know, there's pros and cons to everything. And independent journalists are great, but they also don't have the resources that, you know, a major news network has.
Well, I mean, that also kind of places them at square one, because a lot of major news outlets, they have the resources, but whatever information they come out is filtered through whatever narrative they're supposed to portray out there, you know?
Yeah, I had a high school teacher that used to call CNN the Clinton News Network.
That's a new one. I had not heard that. Speaking of which, your major is political science, right?
Political science and psychology with a minor in anthropology and sociology.
So, on one more note, how do you think 2020 ends, and what do you think it spells for the future for all of us?
Well, there's recently been the whistleblower that has said that her mom is affiliated with the White House, and she has come out and said, you know, it's kind of a hoax. Trump is not doing as well as he is saying he is. And then her mom's, you know, coming out saying, oh, this is just, you know, a teenage girl being dramatic on social media. So whether or not, I guess that's plausible. And if I do believe it, I take it with a grain of salt. I honestly, I don't know if Trump even makes it to the election, just because it's his health concerns. And then, did you see Nancy Pelosi's trying to invoke the 25th Amendment?
Yeah, you were telling me something about that, yeah.
Yeah, so the 25th Amendment is basically like you can remove the president from office on the basis that they're not all mentally there, or something along the lines of that. And since Trump has began his COVID medicine, the thing is he's taking a lot of experimental medicines, and he's taking a lot of medicines at the same time. And I don't know if it's been tested how these medicines work together. You know what I mean? Like if you take all this shit, it could have some unforeseen side effect because you're combining all these different things. And I'm not saying I necessarily believe Trump is, out of his mind, batshit crazy. I think he's kind of always been a little bit out there, a little less political than most people.
Yeah, like also if that's what the 25th Amendment is, then probably Biden, if he does get elected, is only going to last a month because he's kind of waning. Did you see that one GIF where that one girl presenter is speaking and he fucking nibbles at her fingers like a fucking petting zoo goat?
No.
Oh, dude, it is the funniest thing I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah, he's a weird guy. He's have you seen the things where he sniffs children?
No.
Somebody's handing him a baby or something. He sniffs it.
Wait, this is a video or a
Yeah, it's a video of Joe Biden.
Please send that to me. That sounds.
I'll have to find it after, but yeah.
Oh my god.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Oh shit.
Well, yeah, Pelosi is trying to take Trump out of office.
Like everyone else, yeah.
Based on the fact that he's been acting really strange and just saying some really weird stuff since he got COVID, and she thinks that these COVID medications.
I mean, you could argue that he's been saying weird stuff since 2016, but the also what people are gonna have to acknowledge too is that Trump is also going to be one of the first that experiences one of the first examples of when medication is introduced to the COVID symptoms. Because you got to believe that they have some kind of medicine or vaccine or whatever for COVID by now, but they haven't properly tested yet. What other person to test it on other than the president himself? He may be an indicator on how the virus is going to be treated, if at all, in the future.
Yeah, I don't know. He was saying some really weird things. He was saying COVID was I don't exactly quote me on this, but I think he said something along the lines of he's a superior specimen and that's why he survived COVID, and that it was he either said it was a gift from God or a godsend or something like that. He was just saying some really weird out there type of stuff. And then, but for her to enact the 25th Amendment, it has to go through the House and then the Congress, I believe. And then I think Pence and other cabinet members also have to sign off on it. So I don't foresee Pence and those people signing off on that to get Trump out of office. But there's a big possibility, I think, that Trump doesn't make it to the election. And if it does, as much as I understand a lot of people don't want Trump to be president, I think a lot of people are going to vote Trump just because of the fact that Biden is clearly a man with dementia.
Honestly, either way, nobody's going to win. And that's why I haven't been looking towards the future too much either, because fact of the matter is, in terms of political landscape and in terms of the COVID landscape especially, we're not going to know a hell of a lot till 2020 is over.
Yeah, I think election night is going to be pretty wild too, because there's all this mail-in ballots and we're not going to necessarily know the results on election night.
Yeah, my friend Haley, shout out to Haley Hall. She actually made a drinking game out of the last debate. So who knows? We could actually make a drinking game about how the election can go. Is there any more debates due to happen still?
So there was just the debate between Pence and Kamala Harris. And then that's part of the other reason Pelosi was trying to enact the 25th Amendment, was that Trump and Biden were scheduled to have a debate. I'm not sure exactly when it was, but because of Trump getting COVID, all the White House people getting COVID, all this shit, They decided to do it virtually, and Trump was pretty much like, fuck that, I don't want to do a virtual debate. And then Biden scheduled a town hall meeting in some other place for that same night. So that debate is officially called off, and I don't believe there's any more debates scheduled. And the election is about a month away, right?
Well, if that be the case, and this is one of the last gasps from humanity before any apocalyptic events be shaped by the political landscape, this is your host, Catalyst Jost. This is my roommate, Ed Broker, and flat out, we got nothing.
Yeah.
As always, thank you all for listening. If you want to see more content from LOS, follow us at Life on Saturn Productions on Instagram. Follow me at Catalyst Jost, CATALY5TJ05T, and follow us on Facebook as well. And actually, Ed has a podcast of his own. Ed, you want to speak about that real quick?
Oh, yes. So I started doing a podcast of my own recently as well. None of the episodes are up yet, but they should be very soon. It's called The High Tide, and you can find that on YouTube.
And is there any social media that you want them to follow you on?
I actually deleted all social media very recently. I just have Snapchat, and that's just my personal snap.
Damn. I can barely do Sober October, but that even is something I can't pull off.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening, and as always, peace.
Hey, I'm Saturn Lunar Nova. Be sure to follow Life on Saturn Productions on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook to see our short films and music videos. Peace.